Hi everyone, welcome to The Art of Gracious Living. Today I'm going to let you know a secret that I've discovered which will let you buy $300 to $400 heritage classic men's shirts for literally thrift shop prices. I'm going to show you my small collection of these shirts, and I will let you know that with one exception, I have not paid more than $25 for any one of them. And these also happen to be a kind of shirt that is really timeless in styling. And some of the former dress shirts that were obviously sold to men who had intended to wear them to work with a tie actually make a great casual shirt and are right on point for style for this summer. First of all, I'll let you know the name of the company. It's Gitman Brothers. And Gitman Brothers is an old school American shirt company. They started in 1932 as the Ashland Shirt and Pajama Company, and it's because it was located in Ashland, Pennsylvania. It was founded by Max Gitman. They were the company that made private label shirts for the highest of high-end men's stores around the country in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Now, in 1978, Gitman Brothers started to brand their shirts with their own name, and the Gitman Brothers line was initiated. Those shirts still often, in fact, in the vast majority of cases, were still sold to third-party retailers and then co-branded. And I'll show you a number of examples of that in a minute. But to get started, I'm going to show you what I'm wearing now, which is from the Gitman Brothers Vintage line. And the Vintage line are a very limited run and highly collectible shirts. They retail almost $400 a piece. And what I'm wearing now is an example of one that is using the op art design of Gio Ponti, a famous mid-century modern artist. This is 100% linen. It's incredibly comfortable, very thin fabric, camp collar, and I absolutely love it. I did pay a little more than my $25 usual limit. I think I paid $45 for this, but it's certainly well worth it. Super collectible and meticulously constructed. Gitman Brothers, the quality of their shirts, and I've worn many, many shirts over the years from high-end manufacturers. I usually wore classic Brooks Brothers back in the 80s and 90s, but Gitman is easily the equal of those classic Brooks Brothers. And in fact, to be quite honest, Gitman Brothers shirts were a cut above Brooks Brothers, really at all times, especially even in the classic era of Brooks Brothers quality. They were superior fabrics. They were beautifully constructed. And the construction itself, the sewing and the piecing, were equal to Brooks Brothers. Brooks Brothers really was excellent in that regard. But it's the quality of fabrics that really set Gitman Brothers apart. These are exquisite, very fine woven poplin fabrics. Pinpoint Oxfords, before pinpoint Oxfords were even popular. Imported fabrics, really phenomenal stuff. So let's take a look at some of this collection that I've inadvertently hoarded in the past few months. I'm going to show you the summer shirts first. I've already shown you the one I'm wearing, but this is a wonderful shirt. This is a very finely woven cotton poplin, plaid, nice summer colors. Gitman Brothers, 100% cotton, short sleeve, and button-down collar. A wonderful shirt, love it. That was 18 bucks. This is a fabric that I think that Gitman does particularly well, and that's linen. This is a linen plaid shirt. This is pretty vintage. I think both of these shirts, well, this one is probably older. This is probably 70s to early 80s. And the one I just showed you is probably 90s. And you can see this is a co-branded one. This is Gitman Brothers for McLavy Limited. And this is typical of how they were labeled. You'd go into McLavy Limited, which would have been a very, very high-end men's clothing store, and their shirts would be thusly labeled. Beautiful, breezy linen. This one wasn't in the greatest of shape. There's a few inside stains, but they're really not noticeable on the outside at all. It's on this placket here that is where the stains are, and it's really just one side. So you do have to watch these. These are vintage. You're going to find these used, and they are going to have been worn, and you need to be careful with shirts because shirts definitely get messed up, get spills, get stains. You have to be aware of that. And just be real careful with your descriptions. And when you're buying, I bought all of these on eBay. When you're buying on eBay, which I highly recommend, don't hesitate to ask questions. This one is an extra large, and the chest is 25 inches across, so that would be 48 to 50 chest size. So they do run a little large, but you want that in a short sleeve linen shirt, definitely for the summer. You want it to be a little bit loose and a little bit breezy fitting. Here's another great shirt for summer. It is extremely beautifully woven tan Oxford cloth. In other words, tan and white Oxford cloth. Long sleeve, so you can do the fold up. Now, it's not a button down, but I think that this kind of collar, this vintage non-button down collar, when rendered on a beautifully crafted shirt with exquisite fabrics, these are really a good style right now, and you're seeing it all over. You're seeing it in some of the magazine reviews that I've done recently in Paris and Tokyo. I think this is the look for the summer of 2026. It's a vintage men's dress shirt with a non-button down collar. Fairly large collar and in just a gorgeous fabric. Worn untucked, terrific, terrific shirt. You can tuck them too if you want. Again, this was a Gitman's Brothers for John L. Ash in Fort Worth, Texas. It seems that a lot of high-end used clothing come out of Texas. I think there's a reason for that. I think there's money in Texas, and guys never hesitated to spend it on good clothes. So let's do a shout out for the Texans and their good taste in men's clothes. Non-button down, and interestingly, the little darts are on the side, and that's a Gitman's trademark. 100% cotton, of course. Next is another beautiful poplin broadcloth shirt. This one, Gitman, again, made in USA. They're all made in USA. Gitman is definitely a heritage manufacturer. For a while, they had a little trouble during the COVID era, and they had to close their Ashland, Pennsylvania store. It's now been reopened, so they're back in the swing of things, and their stuff is still available new online from their own website. You'll still see Gitman Brothers all over the country in fine men's clothing stores. They're not cheap. They're well over $300 each, and they have made to order too, which I highly recommend if that's your thing. Personally, I encourage everybody to go online and look for Gitman Brothers and shirts, short sleeve, long sleeve, whatever your preference is. Hundreds will come up, and the asking prices are ridiculously low. As I've said, $15 to $20, $25 for a shirt that would have retailed for 20 times that new. It's really almost obscene, the bargains that are available for Gitman shirts. Now this one, as all of their dress shirts are, is sized by collar and sleeve length. This is a 1734. 17 inches in the collar is going to get you a 24 to 25 inch across the chest. That's 48 to 50. And they go up and down by 1 inch intervals. So the 16 and a half is going to be 23 to 24 inch. 16 inch collar is going to be 22 to 23 inches. 17 and a half is going to be a full 25 plus to 26 across the chest. So they're easy to size. And again, if you see one that doesn't have a measuring tape right across the actual chest of the garment, email the seller and ask them, what's the actual chest measurement? Because that is your best sign of being able to find a shirt that's wearable. Collar sizes are going to be variable because these are 100% cotton shirts and they shrink. So do be careful when you're buying them. Ask plenty of questions. And I recommend these, basically these used ones, these very used vintage ones, as to be worn without a tie. If you're wearing a tie every day to work, go buy yourself some new shirts. Don't go with these vintage, because I think you're just going to get frustrated because the collar sizes will vary depending on how much the shirt's shrunk. Another shirt to show you that represents some of Gitman Brothers' most far out vintage. This is a long sleeve cotton and polyester blend shirt, button down collar. Gitman Brothers, master shirt maker. I don't think this is a very old shirt, but it's definitely a retro fabric. This has got, it's a 3D fabric. It's got a very tightly woven poplin, but it's also got this overstitch of a sort of a lacy three-dimensional, which really makes the shirt pop. This is something that you saw in the 60s and early 70s. Very, very retro style of fabric. And I just think it's got a great 70s look. I had shirts like this back then, and boy, they were nice. Now, the reason that it's cotton poly is because cotton would not be a strong enough fabric by itself, a strong enough material by itself to hold the form of this overstitching. The shirt is 52% cotton, 48% poly. Nice back pleat in the center. Really cool shirt. One of my favorites of all. And this is the last. It was the first Gitman Brothers that I bought on eBay. This was almost new, and again, 25 bucks. Almost brand new. Gitman is known for their plaids, and they're usually a fairly small patterned plaid. Very versatile, and Gitman obviously sold a ton of casual shirts. This is typical of their casual button-down offerings, 100% cotton, beautiful, beautiful woven fabric. And this one also has, the nice detailing that you like to see, a button in the back of the collar, and the pleat is in the center. Based on the styling, they're mostly from the 80s and 90s. That was really the heyday of Gitman's shirts. And I suspect that what we're seeing is, sadly, a lot of estate sale items that are being snapped up and put on eBay by people who buy a whole collection of clothing, an entire wardrobe of someone who's passed away. This is the sad byproduct of the passing of the baby boomer generation. These are guys that made a lot of money in the 80s. They bought a lot of expensive clothes. You know, they might have had 30 or 40 dress shirts in their closet. Many of them didn't get a lot of wear. Many of them were almost unworn, maybe worn 2 or 3 times. You'll find these shirts very often will have someone else's dry cleaning or laundering label on them with the guy's name that originally bought the shirt and sent it out to a commercial laundry to have it pressed, washed and pressed. That's really the best way to take care of these shirts if you want to keep them looking crisp. I am quite happy to wash them, dry them until they're about 2/3 dry, 3/4 the way dry, still a little dampness on them, and hit them up with a warm or a hot iron. That's really the best way. You don't need to send them out for a commercial laundry, although, boy, they come back looking gorgeous that way. Instead, you can iron them yourself, and then they'll have a little bit of the original casual drape to them. The laundered shirt is starched and comes out looking very formal and with no drape at all. It's like you're wearing a piece of paper. It's not necessarily stiff. I like, frankly, if I'm going to wear a tie to work with a dress shirt, I like a starched shirt. It keeps them from showing wrinkles for a long time, but boy, oh boy, it's not necessary. And in fact, some of these shirts have enough structure that you don't even have to iron them. You just pop them out of the dryer a little bit moist and then let them hang dry. Or if it's a shirt that's a little bit problematic, like a linen shirt, I would just pull it out of the washer and put it on a hanger and let it dry naturally. So again, Gitman Brothers, highly recommended. It's a shocking bargain, and you can really get yourself a nice collection worth thousands of dollars if you were to have bought it at retail for, 100, $150. Thanks a lot. If you like this video, please subscribe, press the thumbs up button, and we will see you soon. Bye.